Yo hunters, Augiesaint here and welcome to the channel. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day and you enjoyed the Monster Hunter Wilds open beta in the last couple of days as much as I have. We put over a good 30 to 40 hours of playtime in the last couple of days, and I must say the game is absolutely great, minus a few hiccups like the performance issues, but I'm sure they will iron that out when we get closer to launch. As they did say, this wasn't the same version as what they have, and maybe even we get another beta closer to like December or January or something, with the release date right now set on the 28th of February. So we do have quite a few months before getting into that. So I do have some time to polish it up, and the performance wasn't terrible, although it was definitely not the greatest. It could be a lot better. So that's like the main gripe that I have with it, but there's so many more positives to it. I just absolutely loved all the different weapon types. They do carry over from Worlds. If you play a little bit of Worlds, or a lot of Worlds in my case, then the weapon types do carry over, and they are similar, but there are quite a few new combos as well going into Wilds, which you do have to learn. And each weapon has this mode called Focus Mode, and every weapon kind of has a way to interact with their new system, the wounding system, which kind of replaces the clutch claw tenderizing which you got from Worlds, which is very important. You pretty much had to tenderize or soften up a point on a monster every single time you want to do the maximum amount of damage, and then when it runs out, you got to go ahead and do it again. Especially since a lot of decorations actually, performed around that, like critical boost, all that kind of stuff, exploit, boosted your damage on the softened spot of the monsters. So you pretty much, if you weren't doing it, you were losing out on quite a bit of damage. So it was mandatory for you to go ahead, clutch claw, and soften up a part in Monster Hunter Worlds, which wasn't actually that bad. I did quite enjoy that, especially with us being able to like mount a monster with the clutch claw and then shoot out stuff from the slinger. And you can actually wall bang the monsters and you get so much free damage. You could also do quite a few things with the environment, so that was pretty fun. But I do feel like the new wound system that they introduced in Monster Hunter Wilds is actually quite a bit better, because it's not so much like forcing you to go ahead and soften something to do good damage. You'll be doing the same damage. Obviously the wounds will make you do a little bit more damage, and how you actually get the wounds is by just shooting a spot on the monster, like the same spot over and over, or shooting it, or slashing it, or poking it, whatever it is you may be playing. Lance, hammer, greatsword, and there also seems to be some weapons are a little bit easier at causing these wounds, especially the greatsword and the dagger and the insect glaive and the longsword. When I was playing them, they seemed like they were actually doing the most amount of wounding, because you could slice and dice at a part really fast. And then the greatsword, well, it wasn't hitting as fast as those other weapons, but it is hitting really hard, and maybe that affects how the wound system works completely. So when we actually fully understand how the wound system works, I'm going to break that down in another separate video. But that is the new system that was added, the wounding system, and you wound them. And then that also ties into the focus mode, which again is another new function where pretty much all the weapons have a focus mode and a move where it interacts with the wound. You can kind of like make a wound through just fighting the monster like normal. And then in your focus mode on PC, it was like mouse button 4 or something, you press shift, and then it actually hits your weapon's ability into the wound. If you connect with the wound, it will do the weapon's new special move, like the daggers, for example. For the twin daggers, for example, you would actually do that like whole spinny move where you would go up on heels before, and you could jump down. Now, if you hit the wound with your focus mode, you'll automatically do that. You'll like cut the monster and you'll jump backwards, and then you'll shoot your clutch claw at it, and you'll come back and you'll spin all the way down the monster. It does crazy amounts of damage and just looks really cool in the process. And then I think it destroys the wound as well. So whenever you make a new wound, you can go ahead and do it. And you can see that can become pretty OP if you're playing in a group. You can have some people playing with weapons that are maybe better at wounding, and then somebody else that's got a weapon that's really good at exploiting the wounds, like the daggers, for example, or the bow. One of my favorites, which I'm probably gonna be playing in the full launch, is crazy with the wounding system. You've kind of got like these homing arrows that you lock onto the wounds of the monster, and then it shoots a dragon piercer at the same time, and it just does crazy amounts of damage. When you do end up getting a monster full of wounds, you can like shoot that dragon piercer lock on thing, and then it does so much damage and hits so often that it makes another wound. So you can kind of just like chain reaction that over and over, and becomes really satisfying to play. And I just do really enjoy this new wounding system alongside the focus system. And another thing about the focus mode is it's not only there to interact with the wounds, but also makes aiming your big hits and even just your smaller hits like the daggers, the insect glaive, longsword, all that stuff, you can kind of turn in between every single combo. So like with the longsword, for example, when you're doing the spirit slashes, where you have to try and hit all your slashes to get your spirit meter to actually fill up and then, level up to the next level, you can actually turn in between every single spirit slash. You can be spamming the combo, but then you hold down the focus mode at the same time, and you kind of like aim towards the monster, so you can pretty much always be on target. And then with greatsword, I think it's called the true charge slash. Sorry if I get the names wrong. I don't play that much of these specific weapons. I kind of just tried all of them out. But anyway, when you're doing that big charge up slash, you can kind of move around with the focus mode. so you can readjust your aim before you actually go. So it's so much easier to hit your targets. And then at the same time, I believe that just makes the game so much more accessible to people. I know some people might actually say that the focus mode is making the game too easy or whatnot, but the game still is quite hard to master, especially since this game really teaches you about patience and mastering, you know, the monsters' patterns and stuff, which is something that I am a sucker for. I like to just go in there and hit the target really fast, and I like to react to stuff instead of, you know, memorizing what pattern it does what. So for me, the game was actually quite challenging, and I think it's a really good way that it's made to actually make you learn patience. You know, patience, young grasshopper, wax on, wax off kind of thing. You've got to observe the monster, and it's just so exciting and fun for me as well. That's why I can't wait to dive into this when the full game comes out. Is like you want to use the environment as well. There's so much you can do with the environment. Your pelican can help you out. You can lay traps. You can pull down vines. You can pull down rocks. You guys know in typical Monster Hunter fan shit, there's so much more to the fight than just going there and whacking away at the boss like a Dark Souls boss. Whereas I actually like those kind of fights, you know, like Dark Souls is a little bit about learning the pattern, but mostly about your reaction time, dodging, you know, swipes and stuff, and then you also just going at quite often, and those kind of action games. Whereas Monster Hunter kind of rewards the patience and learning the dance, you know, the tango, the footsteps. You got to learn the dance, the pattern to these monsters, which I really find enjoyable, and I can't wait to try this out. I know I'm saying so much good about the game. There is a few downsides. Like I said, the performance is definitely the biggest issue for me, and I can't really think of anything else that I have anything negative to say about it. The world just felt so alive and so like real and lived in. For example, on stream, I was following around this little herd of monsters like dinosaurs or whatever they are, wildebeest things, and then they came across the water and they walked through the water, and this crocodile just jumped out of the water and actually took that thing in with it, like ate the monster. I actually was just sitting there. I almost fell off my chair on stream. I got such a fright when that crocodile jumped out and, you know, was eating the monster, and it was so alive. And then also monsters that you leave, they'll start decomposing and you can go pick the bones. I went fishing in like one of the mines deep down. You can actually jump on the water and you can get to like a little hidden cove with minerals and stuff you can mine. Also, with the environment changing in the plains, whenever Raydal, which is like the apex predator of the zone, whenever he appears, there's like that whole sandstorm, lightning storm that comes in, and the whole environment changed. It was like big lightning bugs. You can actually trap them with your net, and you can use those. If you catch those big lightning bugs, you actually get a whole fully made shock trap. So that's really nice. You can go stock up on shock traps and then just go capture all those big flash bugs. And then you can also take monsters into those and you can bait them in, and it's kind of like a little trap. And then there's this other monster with like a big horn on its back, and it absorbs the lightning because, you know, it's like the lightning always tries to strike the highest point. It's just really immersive, and I couldn't stop exploring. I have a video that I'm going to post on the channel pretty soon. It's about a 45-minute video just showing you guys the whole cycle of the Windward Plains, from like the pre-sandstorm to after sandstorm, you know, when everything prospers and like the grass grows and then all the animals move around and stuff. It's just really exciting, and I like how immersive it is. I like to just get lost in these kind of games, and I can't wait to see where it's going to go in the future when we actually do get the launch, to see how the monsters work. You know, like the story, usually when we do stories, you've got to see a little cutscene before we actually get to it. But in this beta version, we did the one story quest, and that all seamlessly like went into the next investigation quest on the plains, and the plains was completely open world. I mean, you could go wherever you want within the zone, and there was also going to another zone, but we got cut off there because obviously the beta is only showing us the Windward Plains. So I want to see how that's going to actually work in the full launch when we are playing the story. How's it going to work? Do we have to like see these monsters first time through a cutscene, or do they just like dynamically go with the quests like they have been in the open world exploration of the plains? You know, is it going to be like the Gilded Lands from Worlds, where we just select missions and stuff for specific monsters? We're doing the story quest in the zone, but it's kind of like it's sanctioned off to that quest, I guess. Or instead, is it going to be like it has been in the beta, where everything is just dynamic and it like plays in as you see the monster, and it just starts the quest like really, you know, immersive. I just loved it. I can't stop saying immersive enough. I'm ranting on for too long, guys. Basically, long and short, the game is amazing. The worst part for me is the performance, but I hope that they will fix that, because they do have quite a few months to go ahead and polish it up. So let me know down below in the comments, what is your favorite thing about Wilds, and also what is your least favorite thing, or what is an issue you have with Wilds, you know, like performance or something, or is there something else you don't like about Wilds? Let me know down below in the comments. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. And with that, I'm gonna love you guys and leave you guys, and I'll catch you in the next video, as well as the live streams. If you like this video and you want to stay up to date with everything Augiesaint and Monster Hunter Wilds, hit the sub button and the notification bell. It helps me out so much, and I'll catch you beautiful people in the next video, as well as the live streams. Augiesaint now.
Run free. and dive into the sky. Hear the